This video will show a VirtaMove migration of a single Apache web server from Red Hat Linux Release 5.3 to a different destination server running Red Hat Linux Release 7.7, then onto a Windows Server 2019. The command window on the left is an SSH session on the source Linux server. From here, we can confirm the Linux release as 5.3. We can also confirm that the web server is up and running on the source server using the service httpd status command. Referencing the IP address of the source server, we can use an external browser to verify the contents of the website and that it is up and running at this time. This is the web page we'll be migrating. The command window on the right is an SSH session on the destination Linux server, which is release 7.7. From this window, we can run the command system control status httpd, which will tell us if there's an HTTP server running on the destination server. This command returns the result of not found, meaning that no service is installed or available on the destination server at this time. We can use the IP address of the destination server to see if there is anything visible externally. This fails with a message of site cannot be reached. Our first step is to run the virta-run docker container command pointing to the source server IP address, referencing the Docker container and then the VirtaMove files. This script performs a few setup commands in the background, including the installation of Docker SSH-fs, which is used for the Docker to mount a remote file system, after which it creates a Docker volume, which is then used to mount the remote file system of the source server. If we perform a docker image ls command, we can see two Docker images have been created. Now we can run the Docker container based on the image created. We are also remapping the volume within the context of the container so our migration tools can access the remote file system through that directory. Running the command service http status returns unrecognized service. However, if we prefix the command with virta-run, we can now see the HTTP service is started. This is the key step that starts the service by migrating the files from the source Linux server to the destination Linux server. Looking at the website via the destination server IP address and on port 8080, we can see the VirtaMove webpage. This means that the migration of the web server and the port remapping were successful. Now that the web server has been migrated, we can check the status and start it natively without using the virta-run prefix. Once the Apache web server has been migrated into a Docker container, it becomes very portable. To migrate the web server to a Windows server, first we must commit the container to a new image using the commit command, referencing the current Docker ID and a new image called Apache tethered. We will save this image to a .tar file that can be copied to the Windows 2019 server. Running the docker ls command, we can see there is no image created. Also checking for a web server via the IP address of the Windows destination server, we can see no pages are being served up. On the Windows server, we'll copy the tar file to the local server. In this case, we've copied this file to the desktop. Next, we need to load the tar file image into Docker. After running this command, a new image will be created that has the Apache web server in it. A docker ls command shows this new image. Using the docker run command, pointing to the image ID on the destination Windows server, the new image is started. With the HTTP service directly using the service httpd start command. Once started, checking in the browser, we can see that the web page is displayed as it was on the previous Linux servers. This migration has been successful.